Hey guys, welcome back to Serious Typology. We've got Giancarlo here, and we're gonna tackle this bad boy today. Um, and I did just see a couple hours ago, like purely coincidentally, another Enneagram typist happened to drop a video on him. So it was coincidence. We've been researching Richard and planning this for, I don't know, I think we first proposed it like a week ago. And we were coming back to it last night, watching some videos and stuff. So we have some thoughts, kind of, I feel like a surprising typing for him.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, also, it was a little difficult, honestly, given also that he has had injuries, since that obscures certain elements that could be present in his type, for sure. And yeah, I also have made some observations based on clips. It seems to me that he kind of softened his edges a lot in his viral clips, even though behind closed doors, I saw other things, which will be
Mhm.
interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not one of those people that's like, if someone has had head trauma or like a personality disorder like ASPD, which he probably had, that you can't type
Mhm.
them. I just think it like exaggerates aspects of their type. Like one thing that was interesting about Richard is that I don't think he was like any other serial killer in that he was just so chaotic, opportunistic, kind of frenzied, like just purely driven by chaos and opportunity, an unlocked window, an unlocked door, an unlocked car, he was taking it. And it seems like he started out doing drugs really young and had a bunch of trauma, of course, that warped his little mind, like physical trauma, head trauma, and also exposure to violence and such early on. And he started doing drugs, and he initially started committing burglaries just to fund his drug habit. And I think his drug of choice was cocaine and LSD, which kind of maybe warped his mind further. But in interviews, I found him to be surprisingly well spoken, and you found a really great find some of his poetry.
Hmm. Yeah, I found some videos of his poetry and it shows a side of him that I think he even like despite the like his obvious extreme level of like an antisocial lifestyle and kind of living in the outskirts of life, he seems very withdrawn, really there is some things like not soft in the same way that like a 2-9 is soft, like kind of like plush or more comfortable. But there is something schizoidally sensitive about him that's present,
Hmm.
and his obsession with murder, death, and brutality almost seems like an intellectual fascination, as opposed to more concrete, I just want to kill you. There is something more interesting about like the way he uses language to me in those pieces of poetry.
Yeah. Yeah, language and also symbols. Like, I thought this was interesting that this was at the beginning of his trial for all these murders and rapes and burglaries. And he does this, he holds up his hand with like the pentagram on it and said, "Hail Satan" in the courtroom.
Yeah.
I think is points for SO blind. Um, and also like I learned something too that he committed I believe all, or at least the vast majority of his crimes under cover of darkness. Like this guy was very nocturnal. He started as like a peeping Tom. He started doing petty burglaries. Everything was, in the dead of night. He was prowling the streets. He obviously got the nickname the Night Stalker, which he really loved and latched onto. And in some pictures, he has this like very overtly fierce look, which we think speaks to
Yeah.
his core type, he could look very fierce, but like you were saying earlier, he also had like, gosh, I don't know why it's so small. My connection isn't great right now.
Yeah,
He had
feel that.
this kind of like wounded soft boy thing. And I guess like growing up, was he like a choir boy or Catholic church altar boy or something?
Interesting. I was not aware that he did it as a child. So it will be interesting if there was a mix of that kind of more delicate, like social role with the kind of experiences he also had, like both are very contradictory. Like that he will see, like his brother show him pictures. No, 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 his brother. I don't know if his brother or his cousin,
It was his
Miguel, that showed him.
cousin.
Yeah, his
Yeah.
cousin. Yeah, who showed him pictures of Vietnam. Like citizens and women that were murdered, raped, or brutalized, and
Hmm.
so
Yeah, atrocities committed in
mhm.
Vietnam, and then this same cousin murdered his wife in front of him when he was also
Yeah,
quite young. So he was no stranger to, and his father was also very physically abusive. So he had like this kind of dichotomy where he did have like the traditional like Mexican Catholic loving family. He was close to a lot of his family members, but there was also the violence and the undercurrents of mental illness and substance abuse. Um, and he also described himself like kind of like in a way of not taking responsibility for his crimes as like, well, it's an evil world. I'm just kind of a product of this evil world and environment that I've
that's Jesus. That grimace is that grimace. Words. English on my first language. Is it grimace? Grimace like that
yeah. Yeah,
is such a great thing.
I thought this was a really great video because I thought it showcased his personality and how much he was like loving the attention, like he was hamming it up, right?
He was very happy
Yeah,
about
he's
the
looks
negative case.
yeah.
Okay, Mikhail, hi. What kind of a person are you? Kind of person would I describe myself to be? Hmm. I don't know. I'm just an ordinary person. But then again, there's uh
So that rules out core four. I'm just an ordinary person.
Yeah, it seems a little sarcastic, but I think yeah, almost like he's just trying to pose. But I can see yeah, kind of just an ordinary person. But I see what you mean, like kind of
Yeah,
downplaying himself.
a Jekyll and Hyde to me.
there's some weird silences in this. I don't know why, but
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Next question. Talks with you given the formula for the serial killer. Yes, I believe a serial killer comes about by circumstances, and it's like a recipe. Uh, Poverty, drugs, child abuse, uh, a few other things that I can't recall right now. But I believe that
okay, so like a first like well, a couple first impressions is that he's obviously like kind of playful and charming. And we were on the fence between like 8-wing-7 or 7-wing-8 for him. And we kind of like lean towards 7-wing-8 because of well, first of all, like the chaotic nature of his crimes, and also like the fact that he was really charming and playful. Um, Certainly less of that 8-ish, just pushing back and like asserting his boundaries and whatever. And then also, I thought I thought little bro had a 9 fix. He's just so soft, like, and it's like, how do you reconcile the person who committed all these really horrible crimes with like this, like, and I think core seven wing eight. I think it's social blind, and but I do think he is nine wing eight fixed.
I was very, very much. He's not an eight core eight, as you said, because he just doesn't have this level of gravitas, and this is what I'm doing. He seems very soft and removed, but I was reviewing a little bit of like the how can I say this? Overall, seven and nine together and self-press, especially the self-preservation nine, is a type that is basically comfort and embodiment and being safe in the body, which are psychological concepts. And when I look at someone like Richard, I mean, just somebody that seems like, even though he's just as withdrawn and soft, is almost a diametrical opposite of a person that is like chilling, like getting stoned and just kind of observing life, being happy, satisfied. Because Naranjo describes self-preservation 9 as satisfaction and self-preservation 7 as being more concerned with appetite. In that sense, even if they're not phlegmatic, they might have a certain tendency to enjoy comforts. And to me, Richard, even his eyes have this very predatory, penetrating quality that we both agree his hard face is 4.5, and I'm not sure a 4.5 face would overshadow 7 and 9 together in that sense. So this guy is not enjoying. He's deeply uncomfortable, even though he's really downplaying his own aggression in interviews because he's pending trial. But that's what I've observed.
Mhm. Okay.
These things, contribute uh, to a person's frustration and anger. And
So frustration and anger, big buzzwords for seven wing eight. Frustration
Yeah,
and
definitely
anger.
7, 8, and 4, like those three are very screaming gay.
Yeah. Yeah, he did have a lot of frustration for sure.
and at some point in life, he explodes. People is feelings and feelings and emotions like anger, hate, lust, and greed. Whereas if I didn't give in to them, I would be crushed by them. As far as the crimes they say I committed, I've been convicted of. I I still have dreams of everything that has happened. Yes, but I like nightmares. I was happy till the day I got arrested. I had hope, not as much.
A little bit of glib there. I was happy till the day I got arrested. Like it's just
Yeah.
um lack of remorse. Also, I think a real overt upfront hit of positivity because we were wondering like how could he be a positive type? But like he is again very glib and like playful and he was this was fun for him. He was having fun.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of weird. I'm still considering if it could be a 7 wing as just downplaying his last fits because maybe the 4 wing 5 is just very strong as well. Because he does seem strangely soft, but as I'm saying before, he seems schizoidally removed in a very kind of like, because self-amusement is also a big theme for 5 wing 4, but I'm like, or five in general. I'm thinking like for it's definitely he's 100% 7 win 8 or 5. I'm leaning a little bit more 7 win 8, and I can explain in a bit. I know it sounds like a shocker given because I just was brainstorming while I was driving today about this. I didn't like kind of go over it on the chat. But if he's a 7 with an 8 fits, it will be. I'm just not seeing the level of comfort. Like I remember, like he's kind of doing this sort of. Like usually with 7s with 9s, I'm more like, I know, man. Yeah, I mean, they tend to be a little bit more kind of like
Mhm. Yeah, I
like
mean, he
this is chill
seems
and
he
vibe.
seems really casual to me though. Like he seems like he's enjoying himself, enjoying the attention in this interview.
Hmm. I
I
don't see
mean,
relaxation, but I know
yeah,
what you mean.
yeah, I mean, like he's leaning back in his chair, he's smiling, We can watch a little more.
Much as I would like. Uh, I do exercise. I meditate. You did? Yes, I meditate. Yeah. Yes, in myself.
So I think he's like enjoying that
Yes.
she's surprised that he's meditating, and he also seems very like calm and in control. So I'm thinking like seven wing eight with a secondary nine wing eight fix, making him just very gutty. And also like he had moments of reactivity, which you would expect with like, eight influence for a four fix, but those were, I feel like, few and far between.
Like I think containment versus comfort might be something that I want to also explain a little bit more on. But yeah,
Okay.
Get executed rather than spend the rest of my life in prison. I don't have any hope of getting out. And, I don't see it as a reality, realistically, looking at it. I don't see myself walking the streets again. I am not engaged. I am not engaged. And no, I don't want to talk about any.
I think the funny thing is at that time he was engaged because he was engaged to that to Doreen from like
oh my God.
1980. So like look at him, he's like, I'm not engaged, girls, send me your letters. He got a lot of letters and correspondence in prison and
Yeah.
female attention. Because he did have this boyish charm. Like he was very likable. I've got another video where like a police officer who interacted with him a lot spoke about how he was with him. He was very polite and friendly, which again I think, and even like adaptive, like I think speaks to a strong nine wing eight fix that people who were close to him and in his inner circle really liked him. So I'll just keep going.
Anything like that.
California's Night Stalker has married behind bars. Were you ever in love with a woman?
I have been in love.
When? How old were you?
I was 15. I was 15.
And what happened?
Uh, I got sent. I was with her 3 years, and I got sent to reform school. And when I came back, we lost touch, and she got married, and that was it.
So they just said he had gotten married and he's not even mentioning poor Doreen.
Yeah, definitely this guy is not an attachment type. I know that. I mean, I don't want to jab other people because I know you're a nine, you don't want drama or anything, but I know some people think he's a six. I'm not seeing that at all. Like that is not six. Sixes are
Yeah.
jealous. Especially they can't help it. Like when there is this topic, you know,
Hmm.
like they might complain if they don't like their partner, or they might just excessively admire them. But he just seems like almost like it's not relevant to him. You know
Hmm.
what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. He didn't have any super ego going on.
Do I associate sex with violence? Rape. Shit, man, this is a hard question. I don't know. I don't know. I can't answer that, Mikhail. I mean, oh, oh, this, oh no, we can't get into that. See, she tries and makes, keeps me going, but I can't. Yeah. Don't laugh like that. You're making me laugh. I hope you edit this real good. Philip. Thank you. Okay, go ahead, man. What do I'm at a loss here. What do you want me to say?
Nothing. I wanted to say things you've made me think you
Hold
got.
on, Mike. Hold on. Look,
There,
sometimes I can't I can't say what I really feel. I am pending trial as to sex and violence.
So like he wants to give them something, and I think that's the attachment. Like come on, man, I want to tell you, but I can't. So like he is pretty adaptive. And I think even the fact that he's like smiling and laughing when he was asked if he associated with sex with violence, like clearly he does, but he knows like I can't exactly speak my mind here because of my appeals.
Many people are into S&M and bondage and stuff, and there's clubs that yeah, we're talking about you. Me, well, sex and violence. Well, I no, I don't think I'll answer that. No.
Withholding info too.
What?
Oh my God.
זה קשה לראות שהוא מתקרב אלייך ככה.
Well, no, I agree. That was a stupid answer, but Jesus,
בכלל.
this is a wicked world. Uh, in a wicked world, wicked people are born. Regretting.
So I think that's some nine-ish, like universalizing, like it's a wicked world, wicked people are born. What are you gonna do? But I'm not that evil.
Yeah, he's just like trying to kind of smoke screen, it's a control thing that you can ascribe to. It's interesting because this also confirms it's not a core four. I will say, like, I will say that you associate that technique of kind of like smokes and mirrors with five, three, and nine, which are the more kind of, even though underneath there's a lot of tension. So it's really interesting because you wouldn't expect it based on like just pictures because
Hmm.
he does that a lot.
Yeah, his pictures and the rap sheet, he's not exactly what you would expect. And I thought some of the comments were interesting, just seeing what other people are getting vibes wise, and he seems friendly, and that's the scary part. Someone points out he's being jolly, acting like a child, points for seven. Craziest thing is if he wasn't caught, you never suspect he was the one who did it. He acts like he's interviewing for a dating game show. I'm normal. Um, yeah, so people are, I mean, that's, part of it's like the positive reframing. Um, where like he has been, caught doing pretty horrific things, and he's still shameless enough to do these kind of interviews. And I think that also says something.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, once again, he's not compliant. Like I don't see that at all. Once again, just wanted to continue. It's more points against that.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not lifestyle, not regret. Just isn't me. Why you feel it threatening your well-being? Possibly. I believe in fate, destiny.
More nine-ish stuff, fate, destiny.
Are there any things about you you'd want to be remembered for? Things that are positive in you, things that you think are special?
I survived as best as I could.
Did you have some thoughts on that? I survived.
Yeah, I think yeah, it's really interesting because most of his life doesn't seem very driven by survival, even though at the end he seems like a very paradoxical person. It's really weird. Like because you could self-preservation, I will say it has to be either first or last for a person that frames things in this way because there is a strong polarity. Usually, the second instinct is the more balanced one, and well, the social instinct is also quite, you know, although yeah, he has to be self like I could see a self-sexual heavily leaning into sexual social based on that because self-sexual when it's in the more like mid-range or like heavily self-preservational. They tend to be more insular, a little bit less uh how can I say, they have more of like a defense or armor, and he seems a little more like a person that lives in self-abandonment and chaos, which is more that sexual social side of self-sexual, which is that self-indulgent, hedonistic, reckless. Like it seems like self-press going against itself. That's how it's described usually.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, and another thing he said a little bit prior to that is I something like I can't have regret or his lack of remorse or empathy, and I think that's also like seven wing eight territory of like um just kind of just being unapologetic, like I was just product of an evil world. I was having fun. What do you want from me?
Yeah.
So that was that one, and I found a little bit of his art. It was really hard to find anything. Um, but I found these couple of pieces from when he was in prison. Just, I mean, does this like, what does this say for you?
Yeah, I think he's definitely a good representation of that because it could be a seven that heavily is leaning into his pipeline just due to LSD, because LSD is a very abstract thing. Like it will take a person out of their body. Cocaine can also make a five seem more seven-ish, but it's just these two art works represent to me because I've seen this a lot because I've been in the art community like on Instagram for a long time, and you see this kind of themes a lot in seven win eights and fives with eight fixes, especially if it's eight win seven. Those two types share these kind of themes in common. Especially the seven is hypersexual and doesn't have any two. Like
Mhm.
you will see this kind of like it seems childish, but in a very very boyish way, like in a very masculine way, but very
Yeah.
boyish.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and you see it in
agreed.
punk and graffiti, those kind of communities.
Yeah, he does have a very boyish thing, and like this is interesting because this is something of a self-portrait because he called it the Night Stalker. And it's like he's just a red skull with all these teeth and like a knife jabbed into his skull and fire. It just seems very SpSx, like kind of like claustrophobic. And there's nothing light about it at all, right? Other than it's, I guess you could say it's a little bit comic book style, a bit playful. Do you have any more thoughts?
Well, I was actually surprised by those artworks. I wasn't aware of this in particular, but they confirmed certain like ascriptions I had made to the types, especially that sort of comic book kind of like fan art with this like grim and dark were also very boyish. There is something simultaneously very dark or very childish, and you can also tell that it's either like it's seven win eight or five win four with an eight fits. This is not four. Fours have more of that sort of regality that seems more feminine, and this guy is just very masculine brain, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a good distinction because four has like a very aristocratic like prince thing going on. No, I don't mean like Prince the artist, but like very princely and precious and and he
Yeah.
was I mean there's elements of it there. Like you found this I thought these were actually really good. These
Mhm.
poems that are read by AI, which isn't it sounds cheesy, but I thought it was pretty decent.
The storm, what have you wrought? A black cloud of misery as emotions ride. Once we drank of innocence, untainted and childlike, but your thirst drifted away. What have you wrought? A black cloud of misery as emotional ride. Once we drank of innocence, untainted and childlike, but your thirst drifted away, a sickening cloud of blood. Tears follow pain, follow rain, love condemned. In a storm of tears, I reject you. Ode to death. The night falls in a heavy, suffocating cloak. Entwined are we. The God for which you sacrifice yourself flares once, then dies. Devoured by madness, all hope must surely perish. Your heart beats no more. How could you tear us asunder? Shadows surround us, crying, we are fallen.
Do you have
It's,
thoughts?
can I say something about the themes I'm seeing, especially in that second poem, Ode to Death? Like I just in general, my brain keeps coming back to the sort of caricature that a lot of people have of the nihilist Satanist. And it seems that his worldview is very pessimistic, even though his face and self-expression is very like not necessarily joyful, but just kind of like manically like like being super happy, even though everything is super dark and grim and chaotic and horrible around him, almost like God has abandoned us. And I'm just
Yeah.
like kind of it's just really interesting because even the corners of his mouth seem a little bit upturned. So he's not really a pessimistic person despite the themes
Yeah,
going on.
he was very gesture-ish.
Hmm.
Yeah, but I think like when you are writing poetry, it really gets to your heart fix. And like this is definitely four wing five. It's like
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt.
um undoubtedly, and it doesn't really come through much in his interviews, and that's why I was thinking it might be he might be heart last, but
Mhm.
All around the mourners gather. My dread grows as the stroke of death falls against my naked soul. It wounds me, and darkly my vitae drips to the wicked earth that is my prison. In the madness I dance, while the reaper laughs cruelly. Now alone, my essence falls upon uncaring eyes.
yeah, so I mean, obviously seems like really dark and tortured, but I also like it feels very insular, like you were saying earlier, like SPSX, like it's all it's just all very inward. Um, the key's obviously the star of all these, and it's this dramatic four wing five hellscape his, of his existence. And like he enacted this in his crimes, like he created a hellscape across Los Angeles. Driven by like I think core seven wing eight being the harbinger of chaos with this very dark heart fix. Do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I think, yeah, I mean, definitely, I think a 4.5 year spades. I mean, as I was saying, well, there might be some disagreement on the self-press nine versus like, because I just don't, I mean, from what I've seen, 9 and 14 to be dreamy in a way where they're kind of trying to comfort themselves to create a corner of comfort in a world that's horrible. And it seems to me that he's just the type that might kind of like dance around, like, even though everything is shit. And what I'm seeing as well is, well, I do see a lot of the 4.5. It's obviously not core because he's very just uncaring with refinement or poise or disdain towards the world. In addition to my empty eye sockets, the clever falls, and there is darkness, master of destiny, fearless and immortal. I am the master of destiny, and on the of the hand of death is my nose. My also more points for self-perceptual. Like if this guy is a 7 win 8, it will have to be self-perceptual because other stacks of seven are a lot more sunny, and this guy is not sunny at all. He's
Yeah. Yeah, and I think like, I read that and I watched this like long ass documentary on him, and he was a loner before he was apprehended and enjoyed this newfound social life and all this. No one was interested in this guy before he grew all this lore about being the Night Stalker, but he was very much like a loner and a vagrant, just going around, just getting by, getting enough to pay his rent and get drugs. And I think like there was a part of him that once his notoriety started to grow and they gave him the nickname, like he kind of like rose to the occasion and it was just like full tilt chaos until he was caught.
even though he's very calm, which is why he's not a reactive type and very in control. He seems very uncooperative in a way, even though he's saying the right thing to not get a death penalty. I don't think this guy will last in a job. I think he will get fired because he just will not. He doesn't have the ability to care, like to put other people's needs above his own, like at all. It seems to me, but that's also a vibe I get from here. Almost like fuck all of you, death is everything, you guys. So,
Yeah, yeah, and
but,
like where a five is trying to orient themselves and protect themselves against the world by like acquiring all this specialty knowledge to help them navigate the world. He was just like obviously chaotic, opportunistic, and he did have a job at one point when he was a teenager where he was working at like a Holiday Inn or something. And he got fired after he was sneaking into people's rooms to steal stuff. He will just say he touched a couple kids. He tried to grape a woman before. Like, I don't know how he got away with all this for so long, probably because he's so likable, but they finally had to fire him because he was just such a deviant. Just the way he engaged with the world was just very like chaos, and I'm gonna take what I can get, which does not seem five-ish to me at all. Five is, core withdrawn type. It's a head type. Um, I can't see. I mean, four-wing five in the heart for sure, but I think that's probably last.
mhm.
Respect me. The smell of death lingers in my every orifice. The vision of blood spilling under every surface.
Wait, was that something about lingering in his every orifice? The smell of death. That's so social blind.
Yeah, it's
The
very
smell of
graphic, very
death
dark.
lingers in my every
Yeah.
orifice. Oh my
Also, if I want
gosh.
to add something else about him, I think the fact that he's really handsome because he has a lot of that four overlay, like handsomeness to him, and the four and
Hmm.
seven overlay. There is something like if this guy were like more burly or deep voice or more like, this guy would be like a creep. Like even the fact that he
Yeah.
was peeping on people's rooms and touching kids, like creep.
Hmm.
That's also
Hmm.
another theme I'm seeing a lot.
Yeah.
Seven with eights and five with fours would share that theme as well. So this is just a great example of that line of connection. In any case, like 100%.
Yeah, I mean he was a creep, but he like obviously he was a creep, but he was
Yeah,
compelling enough that women I'm gonna play another video next where like women were going crazy for this dude.
yeah.
In my eyes, my nose, my hands, I am the master of destiny. The dark illusion of the hand of death and the face of the grim reaper sneers into my empty eye socket. The cleaver falls and there is darkness. The master of destiny is on the rampage, unstoppable, fearless, and immortal. Church of Evil. Come and worship at the Church of Evil, where the devil is your friend, where demons lurk in every prayer book. The blood runs from the pulpit and spills from the preacher's lips as he tries to read the Bible. The Bible, what good is that? The words of a madman. But then who is mad? Who can judge us in the Church of Evil?
Mm. So it's interesting because like a lot of the themes of his life and obviously his poetry here is like it's just profaning. Like a lot of his acts of violence, he was committing profane acts. And I think that like with the social instinct, um, there's very much an awareness of how to we're connected to the system, we're connected to everyone else, and that's probably also getting into attachment too. But I think even if you're like a hexad type with social in your stacking, there is like a pseudo attachment of like, this is the expectations, this is what I shouldn't cross, this is profane, this is taboo. And he just dove right into that like as fast as he could, which I think speaks to the hexad influence in his type and also SpSx.
Like, and I mean, he was also very sadistic in his crimes, so you could even like see the evidence um, on the sadistic nature of his crimes. It seems to me that he was basically the opposite of whenever people talk about harm reduction and healing. It seems to me that this guy is kind of like healing. Okay, healing.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, and I kind of wonder if like what came first, like his very dark orientation towards the world and the sociopathy and what he wanted to do. And it's like he picked a philosophy that was in harmony with that, the whole like do as thou wilt. Um, But then again, like I don't think he really had any super ego influence in his type at all to like get in his way. So a lot of people are drawn to dark things. There's the darker types in the Enneagram, 4, 5, 8, whatever. And I think that played a role here, but I also think that he actually did all this dark stuff. So I think it's like core assertive, core frustration, because it was almost like in contrast to other serial killers who were much more methodical and evaded capture because they were very careful and they only did it periodically when that like urge got so strong that they would do it and then they would go months with no activity. He was so composed. It was just like I think that speaks to frustration. Like he was completely driven by his impulses. It was very like I think it's like kind of secondary psychopathy, which is super impulsive and um they don't have the ability to like plan in the long term, but I that also speaks to his Enneagram type because there's different kinds of psychopaths like the one I'm thinking of, Richard Dahmer, he was a 9, I think like a 953, and he was a lot more controlled and careful.
Yeah,
And I think like the reason Ramirez avoided detection was because they weren't even connecting all the crimes because he was so random and chaotic and opportunistic that it took them a while to be like, this is all the same dude. And he was leaving footprints everywhere because he was really sloppy, leaving footprints and DNA. So yeah.
yeah. I was going to say that Jeffrey Dahmer is another like serial killer that seems clearly self-sexual, maybe because he's a 9 and his strike type. I mean, it might be interesting for another episode. I don't know whether his fits is 4 or 3. His heart fits. Some people have even said 2, but he just doesn't seem warm. Another serial killer that could have 2 in his strike type is actually John Wayne Gacy. But
Hmm.
yeah, I don't want
Yeah.
to get too tangential
Yeah.
on those. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we'll have to do a whole series, but we
Hmm.
can.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've already gone so long. I don't know if I want to watch this whole
Yeah.
thing, but I thought the women like fighting over him was really funny. Gotta
I would
find
say his clips where he's shouting parasites or saying this trial is a joke. I don't know if you watch those clips where he was saying that, maybe showing
it.
that like to wrap up the
Yeah.
video.
Have attacked her or beat her up. I would have, and I could, but I didn't, and I won't. So she's just making that up. She's exaggerating everything. I mean, to call my house, give me 20 death threats in one night, her and some friend of hers, and then to even go as far as to say that maybe I'll have to shoot the president to show him how much I love him. She worked. Did you ask him that she loved him? That's what she kept saying to them. I love him, I like him. That's what she kept saying.
Over time, Christine Lee proved to be more persistent than Kelly Marquez. According to Lee, she and Ramirez got engaged. However, this didn't stop Ramirez from seeing other women or corresponding with them. It would begin relatively innocent, but very soon, Ramirez would be flirting and asking for photos, preferably nude, and driving the communication onto riskier grounds until the two were exchanging sexual fantasies. The trial stretched from July 22nd, 1988 until September 20th, 1989, when the jurors found Ramirez guilty on all charges. 13 count.
Okay.
Leoy had been in correspondence with him for years, having first written Ramirez back when he was on trial in Los Angeles. She'd been his fiancée since 1988. There are many who would look at Richard Ramirez in the eye and say, he's the face of evil. And yet you look at him and you see the man of your dreams. Yes. Who needs glasses here? I can't help the way the world looks at him. They don't know him the way I do. Leoy's relatives called her a recluse who lived in a fantasy world, and after the marriage, they disowned her. But the social stigma wasn't the only blow to Doreen. Little is known about their relationship up to that point, but in 2009, a DNA test confirmed that Ramirez raped and murdered 9-year-old May Leon, Doreen's card house fell apart. She filed for divorce right away, and it looks like Ramirez couldn't care less. He continued to correspond with other women, and by the time of his death in 2013, he was engaged to a 23-year-old.
Okay, so that's like a little bit of it, but like clearly he was using Doreen, and she was, to be fair, a willing participant. She just refused to believe that he was guilty until like this indisputable proof came forward that he had done this really horrific thing. But all of his time behind bars, he did have all of this female attention. And I think like part of it is because he was soft-spoken. He had that really, I think, obvious soft side because there can be like a softness and like an obvious charm to seven. But with the nine wing eight, in his presentation, just being soft and adaptive and even polite, and he could be warm.
Yeah, I was also going to add that, I mean, it might depend also, it might be like there are several factors at play, but I've noticed that guys that have a lot of sexual in the stack, especially social sexual, self-sexual, are heavily leaning into their SS dom like line of connection. And four, both of these elements, and seven, four, seven, and SS second can give guys this very like refined, beautiful, like but almost like haunted or tormented look, and that's very attractive to certain women that might want to feel like chosen, special, or might have this healing narrative,
The
which is
twos.
include yeah, 269s, like he's
Yeah.
like 269 bait basically as a person. I
Yeah, I
would
don't
say.
think they got to it in that video, but Doreen, she had been like a little mommy. She had like been the editor for like Tiger Beat or one of those like teeny bopper magazines, and she would get really invested with these stars, like really close to them, and like nurture their rising in their careers. And when she saw Richard, when she saw his mugshot, she had a very similar response, like almost this maternal thing. And she was a Christian, she was a virgin when she married him. So like, I mean, she was deluding herself. Like, we shouldn't feel sorry for Doreen, but yeah, this guy, the SX poll for him was pretty crazy. But
Yeah,
this was a short clip. It's the perspective of the police officer that was interesting.
Time. Did he display any remorse or any sorrow?
He displayed remorse over one of the victims, who was a 16-year-old girl at the time, and he asked us to give her a message that he was sorry, and we did. That's the only one. It's I don't know how these people think. People have asked me, was he crazy? Was he this? I don't know. I'm not a doctor. He asked me, hey, Gil, why do you think I'm like this? I said, I don't know, Rich. If I knew the answer to that, I'd be a doctor making a lot more money than I am as a cop. So my job is to gather the facts, make the presentation, get you convicted. That's it. But he was sorry for one victim and one victim only. Yet, on the other hand, we talked openly after conviction about a 10-year-old girl that he kidnapped. And all he was concerned about in that case was the only thing he felt sorry for was the little puppy who got out. Didn't know if the dog made it out all right or, whatever happened with the little dog. He felt sorry for the dog. Didn't say anything about the girl or anybody else. So here he's sorry about a dog, but he doesn't care about what he just did.
Yeah. In the book, it also mentions that every time in court that Richard saw you, he was still cordial with you and always said hello. Is that
Oh, yes,
correct?
that's true. Yeah, it's true. It's funny. Him and I got along. I never treated him bad, and I don't know what people think. That's the other side that this docuseries demonstrated. All cops are not evil, mean, and tough and rough. And Richard and I got along. He called me Gil, I called him Rich. And the first time he came in the courtroom, he saw me and he said, "Orale Carrillo." And the non-Spanish speaking news media that was there as soon as we went into recess, they all rushed me and they wanted to know what was that a death threat? What did he say? What was he telling you? Rich and I got along.
A lot of people who have written him letters or have met him said that he was actually a pretty polite guy. Would you agree?
He was polite with me. He was polite with me. He wasn't, uh, like I said, he was more articulate, calm than any other murder suspect I've interviewed.
In the book, it does mention that you and Richard spoke Spanish to each other. Was he more fluent in Spanish than he was in English?
You know, we spoke a lot of the street stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I told you that.
So basically, like he was polite, he was friendly, um, he had a good relationships with these officers that were like, overseeing him on a daily basis. He was very respectful. Um, which again I think led into the continued fascination of like how could he be such a likable person and also have committed all these crimes, you know?
I might have to pause and consider like your typing of him 749, but I'm wondering if some form of 584 or 854 is also possible. But especially given that he has brain damage, we will like severely well kind of interfere with the sort of five meticulousness or orderliness, more of that professorial energy. And 8-wing 7 as a second fits will definitely make him like chaotic and reckless as opposed to 1 or 9. Like 5 and 9 together is a lot more passive and not like him at all. So that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, are you saying you could see him as a five?
I could see him as a very interesting case of an 8-ish 5. Like some people type Trent Reznor 584, but I think Richard might actually be that rare specimen of a very 8-ish 5 with and but if it's 5, it's sexual social. And if it's 7, it's self-sexual. But it's one of the two. And I don't have any other alternatives.
Okay, well,
Because
I cannot see him being a competency type. He was like fives are, they're cold, they're competency. Um, he was very much like passionate, chaotic, random, you know. Okay, well, I feel
Mhm.
like we've seen enough.
Yeah.
My final take for him is 7-wing 8, 9-wing 8, um 4-wing 5, SpSx. And what's your final take, G?
My final take. Okay. So I know it's going to be a little bit of a wild conclusion, especially given that first part. We're going to wrap out the video, but I will discuss it more. I think I am 70% sure he is a 5-wing 4 just because wing 6 doesn't fit the archetype. 8-wing 7 with a very strong 7-wing on the 8 fits, and then 4-wing 5. And and it's sexual social. And the alternative typing will be just 7-wing 8, 4-wing 5, and a very weak gut fits, 7-wing 8, 4-wing 5 ets, and self-sexual.
Okay.
That's what I would type in.
All right. Well, thanks for joining me. Everyone, thanks for watching. We will see you next time. Bye.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. All right. Yeah, that was cool.